In a world with entirely too many shows about cars, this is another pointless automotive podcast.
Hello there, Chadwick.
Howdy, Frank. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. And hopefully you, dear listener, at home or listening in your automobile of choice, or perhaps I don't know, in some sort of uh, leather dungeon. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wherever you choose to listen to our podcast is up to you. And wherever that is, hello to you. I didn't hear. I got no reply from them, and that's okay. Yes,
the leather dungeons tend to be pretty sound insulated, so maybe
yeah. And plus,
maybe they
when
were
you
really
have
screaming.
yeah, when you have that like gag in your mouth, it makes it harder to. It makes it harder to.
Out of all the things you could say in someone's mouth in a leather padded sex dungeon, at least you said gag.
Yes, well, true. Yeah, exactly. And unless you lack that reflex, in which case, hey, more power to you. Welcome is what I'm trying to say.
In that case, slide into our DMs. Welcome to
exactly, yes, dear gag reflexless. Oh boy, speaking of gagging, have you I know you like to look at things for sale, and I know I like to look at things for sale.
Sure.
The current state here in we're recording this in February of 2024. Is the current state of the used car market is very interesting. It's kind of weird. We've been in this, call it automotive bubble for quite some time now, the COVID bubble. Some things are getting cheaper, some things are not, some things are getting cheaper, but anyone actually selling them doesn't want to accept that. And so they're still asking the sun, the moon, and the stars for piles of garbage. Things are doing things. Have you noticed this, sir? Should we talk about the state of the automotive purchasing union, perhaps?
I think you're absolutely on it, and it's obvious to notice, right? If you buy and sell a lot like we do, and dude, 2024, haven't bought a car yet. Just brought that up to the old lady today, and she was like, "That is true." And you sound like that's a really big accomplishment, and it is for me. We're a month and a half in the year.
I can't say the same thing. Maybe we'll talk about that later.
I did scoop 2 cars right before the end of the last year. So at the same time.
You're good till March anyways.
Yeah, right. So I agree, Frank, and I think you're right. I think we have a bunch of factors culminating. The big thing I wanted to talk about too is like the used car market, because that's where we play around a lot. The new car market is what it is. It's more of a fixed thing. The used car market's way more volatile. There's way more factors in play, but it's not in vacuum, right? So my big takeaway and like leading us into this whole conversation about the used car market and what we've both been experiencing is new cars, dude. High interest rates are still in play. It's insane compared to even a few years ago. Inventory issues, like enthusiast spec cars or really popular cars or other cars that are selling really well, they can't keep an inventory. There's still inventory shortages.
No, kind really. Of. Well, it depends on what it is. Like
that's
I know,
what I'm saying. So, like,
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's now back,
and I'm like coming from like and things. Yeah, and I'm pretty plugged into the dealership stuff now. And like I'm telling you, like if you want like a new Prius, which is a fantastic car, and like Prius isn't rare, go to your dealer and see how many they have sitting on the lot that haven't been spoken for. So anything that's like super sought after, or like how many GR Corollas are gathering dust right now? 0.
You know what? You can get though. You can. I've heard, because I don't know, because I'm not buying GR Corollas because that's not what I buy. I would love one. I don't want to spend more than like $1,100 on a car. Rumor has it you can, unless it's a chorizo edition, the spiciest of them all.
Yes.
You can kind of get them at MSRP now, which is cool.
It's starting to happen, but my third thing on that list was ADM, and now it's those three major factors are pushing the used car market, unfortunately, in a really bad direction. That's what we're going to talk about. And it's mostly the reliable daily type cars, unfortunately, because folks have to get cars. And I'm going to talk about the tough options they have when they're making that selection now. But it's definitely the new car market forcing people in the used car market. And what have you been seeing when you've been perusing the used car markets, whether it be Marketplace, Craigslist, or wherever you like to shop, Frank? What have you personally been seeing that kind of blows you up a little bit?
Well, what's interesting is like right before Christmas, so the very tail end of 2023, the market dipped pretty heavy in some stuff, in the enthusiast stuff. Um, but what to your point, a lot of like the daily drivery stuff that's like decent in that, like, say high four figures, low five figures range, right? Say your $8,000 to $15,000 car.
Yeah.
That stuff is it's hard to get a good car for under 10 grand now, which is bonkers.
So insane.
It used to be $5,000 would get you a car that will last you 5 years. Easy. That was an easy thing to do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And now that's numbered is now 10. The enthusiast stuff, though, a lot of it is as it depends on what it is.
Yeah.
You know, the E46s are down a little, like the top of the COVID high was crazy.
True.
And a lot of that stuff, like when we had our E30, we sold it kind of at the top of the market. And those cars are back down to earth. They're not what they were, and nothing will, I don't think, will get back to like pre-pandemic, 2020, call it 2018 pricing.
Yeah.
But some stuff is, if you have a G-Wagon, right? Those were going for like 250 over sticker, 150 over sticker in ADM, which is bonkers. That's not the case now. Now those are ADM or under 80 or sorry, MSRP for a new one and under MSRP for a used one. When it used to be, those cars were like trafficking hundreds of thousands of dollars over. Same with like very expensive, like Bentleys and Rolls Royces and stuff. Those are rotting away on dealers because nobody in their right mind right now, with an incoming election and weirdness there, is they're like, oh yeah, I'll just plop down 500 large on a Rolls, let alone a used one, right? If you've got one that's a couple of years old, like, good luck. That's a very hard car to sell right now. They're not, those cars are sitting. But yeah, the daily driver stuff, the cheap stuff, I hope will turn around a little bit anyways. I don't know. It's become a difficult thing to do, is find a good sub $10,000 daily.
And honestly, if you're like, we both find ourselves lucky. We're not in the market where we're trying to get that one car to get everything done for us. But some folks, and a lot of folks, are actually in that exact predicament, and they really have three options at the end of the day, Frank. If they need to secure a car that's going to get them reliably to work every day and bring that money home for the family, option one, you can go to the dealership, right? Go to the dealership. You're going to probably have a limited selection of what's available. It's going to be tricky.
9% interest rate.
Yeah, the interest rates are through the roof. You might not get approved for like a loan. And if not, that interest rates is going to crush you if you don't do your math correctly. Secondly, you got the used car lot, ultra iffy condition cars, right? Your job is your credit kind of place. You're at the end of that payment site. Like when you're done paying that car, if you will, pay double what it's worth, and it will be worth exactly a quarter of what you paid for. So brutally high interest rates there too. You might have to go there if you have to go used. And then third option, Marketplace. And Marketplace is absolutely rolling the dice on something you're going to have to fix yourself. You're going to have to fix it. And it's all, can you trust the person selling it? There's a lot of iffy, but those are your three options, Frank. And right now it's not pretty for someone looking for that A to B car.
And it is hard to find like fair deals on Marketplace anymore.
It's wild, dude.
It's like you can find some stuff, but you have to dig. And if it's like you and I, like you digging and me digging, we can find stuff, right? But like,
sure,
if whatever, if my mom, right, we're like, oh yeah, let me just hop on here and like find a car to buy because I need to get to work. Like, good luck, right? Like we're pretty savvy at this, and we're like going through her like, boy, like it's one out of every 200 listings on here is like, oh, that seems like a reasonable deal for a reasonable car. And it's not like super shady where it's like, scam bait stuff. So I don't know. Like it's interesting because part of my day job is looking at what the market is doing in regards to the online auction space, and having conversations with some sellers and dealerships about what is the market doing and if it's coming down. And it's better for my job if cars are selling for a lot of money. But I personally, I miss the day of being able to find a cool car for like $1,800.
So hard to do now, dude.
It's almost impossible now.
Yeah.
Like it really is truly difficult. Even if you double that, like finding a very cool car for under five used to buy you not anything, but you can, if students said, hey, you have $5,000 and 10 minutes on Facebook Marketplace, or actually back then it was Craigslist.
Mm-hmm.
Find me 5 cool cars in 10 minutes. Easy. That's a layup.
Yep. Easy street.
Now it's like very difficult. Like you'll find that, oh, this was promising. And you look and it's like needs transmission. Tags are 4 years out of date. Don't know where the keys are. You're like, oh, tight.
Yeah.
So I miss those days.
Dude, and like I still buy a lot of cool stuff, but I also like put a lot of sweat equity into my projects, and I'm technically savvy enough to do most things on a car, but like I do factor that in, and I understand the general population doesn't look at cars the way I look at cars, right? Like
Sure.
Some of these issues would sink a normal human being and like just financial ruin to buy any of these cars, right? Or to ignore any maintenance items that haven't gone completely by the wayside. But dude, it's like, just for example, right? Like I want to buy a Honda Civic. I want to buy a 10-year-old Honda Civic. Like I'm not asking for much, man. I've got a $10,000 budget. What I'm looking for is a car with shot paint, a roughed up interior, maintenance issues, possibly check engine lights, won't pass smog. And they're going double for what they really should be going for. That's going to be a $10,000 plus car, right? Like it's insane, and 180,000 miles on it. God damn it! It's like it's insane what people are asking for. Like the weird stuff. I can still find my weird stuff for a decent price because it's not like a competitive space. But that Civic is a highly contested market that people are trying to secure. So whenever you have a resource that's being sought after by a bigger population, obviously the prices and the demand are going to increase. So I get that, but boy, it is madness, man, trying to secure like a reliable daily or a little family car or get to work car. It's just it's a tough spot to be in, man.
Yeah, it's silly because it's like, I don't know, it's become so burdensome, and so for like, and for a lot of it too, it was just like, well, a Prius is safe. Well, now the cats are getting jacked, right? So it's like, it's like I can't even. Yeah, it's like hard for me to even recommend something like that because it's always, when I was helping out doing sales at the car donation yard, right? That would be the thing. Someone would walk in and it's like, hey, I need like a Honda or Toyota. It's got to get decent gas mileage. It's got to be reliable. I've got $1,500 to spend, and it's like that doesn't exist anymore. Like that, you used to be able to go, okay, yeah, there's like 3 right here, but for like, and it's not a thing anymore. Like you can't. I don't know. I don't know what some people are doing besides taking that 8.5% interest rate loan over 60 months on a car that they're paying 18 grand for when it's worth 9. And that's how you end up with big Ultimate Energy, I suppose, right? Like that's
even then you're eating so much depreciation. It's just, it's a lose, man. And not to hate on the Ultima. But I mean, marketplace though can be a very scary place too. There's a lot of like sub optimal sellers on there that are not like, their integrity isn't the highest, right? And they're pushing through cars that are barely passing smog and all these other things. And you can find yourself, boy, with like a $10,000 paperweight without any effort at all. So it's a really tough spot. And there's a couple other factors that come in, like car repair. Dude, what does it cost? I don't do it, but like I hear dealership rates of being in the high 2s, like per hour to get a car worked on. Back in the day, I remember like 55, 65, but it's changed a lot. And I don't take cars to the dealership. I just hear third party. But having skilled laborers. Like, it's hard to secure skilled laborers in the automotive field now because the industry is so numbered. Everything's like so counting. Back in the day, you could do a job in half the time and move on to the next job and be making that money. And have a good day. And now it's everything so much by the books. It's so lean. It's so like precise that it's insane. It's insane. So like a lot of people aren't entering that industry. Like auto
Mhm.
techs are short in most parts of the country, and that's reflected in that price too. So what? It's just like a lose-lose, man. It's like everybody should learn to work on their own cars. It's like I kind of feel like that's it.
Yeah, no, that is part of it, right? Because then it gives you the tools to navigate, something like a Facebook Marketplace or a whatever, and it is frustrating because it's like I'm sure you get it. You get this from friends and loved ones where oh, Chadwick is the car guy. I've got a car question. I need to buy a car. I'm going to ask Chadwick because I know I get that right. Except they rarely call me Chadwick, and they'll come to me and it's like, hey, like I got this car, or oh, I saw this car. I was thinking about buying it. You know, it's got a clean Carfax, and so it's good. I'm like, okay, like, and I look at it and it's like, the rear floor is missing or something. Like there's,
Yeah.
or it's, hey, I'm thinking about this. It's a good deal. I wanted like a nice SUV, and it's got some miles on it. They go, what is it? What are the miles? It's like, oh, it's a Range Rover with 210,000 miles on it. It's like, oh boy, like that's not the car for you. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I can handle it. Maybe you can handle it. I wouldn't want to, but you could.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's a lot of landmines. There's a lot of pitfalls, and when those cars were $2,000, it's like an easier thing that like, okay, well, you spent $2,000 on a car, it turned into a pile of garbage, so you then sold it for $1,000, and you're out $1,000. Like, oh well, like that sucks, but
Yeah.
not the end of the world, right? Now it's like you do that, and you're like, oops, I'm out 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a loan out on that. That's at 9%, and now I have to roll that equity into another other loan, and so now I owe 30 grand on a $12,000 car. And yeah, it's how people get in trouble really quick.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a shame.
But what are you gonna do, right? Like, and then the other thing is too, there's like that drive. People want to have something new, so they get priced out of the new car market. So they're trying to get some cars on the used market, man, that are like a year old are more than the MSRP. People are still asking. They have the nerve to ask.
Yeah, and they're not
more.
we're not in that era anymore.
It's insane.
We're not there.
It's
yeah,
insane. But it's not. I'm not talking like one or two offs. It's super prevalent. Look up any car that's like a year old, like 20,000 miles. They'll be asking exactly MSRP or more, and it's fucking bonkers. Like, and I feel so bad for people trying to navigate this that aren't as car savvy or whatnot. And then like on top of that, the car, even if you are fixing your own cars, dude, tires have doubled in the past 3 years. I feel like to get a good set of rubber on a car is no longer like a $300 to $400 event. It's
a Jiffy Lube oil change is like $90 now.
And we know what you get, right? We know what you're getting in that arrangement. So it's like a really, really tricky time. And I know they want to battle these interest rates, and I know inventory shortages drove up some, scarcity issues, and they're still kind of working through a lot of those, to be honest, at the dealerships. And so the used car market is always like a step or two behind. And I think right now with folks trying to, and now like remote work is getting like fewer and fewer opportunities. Everybody's coming back to offices. People need that transportation, man. So it's, the used car market, I always like to describe it as manic because it's like it kind of goes up. People are like, oh, the market's dropping. Cars are going to be affordable again. No, it's still like the Wild West. People are selling in these used markets are just wild because people name their own prices, right? Because no longer is it a by the book, just a new car with certain specs and certain options. It's like, oh, we've really taken care of this car. It's had all its maintenance. There's all these other factors that make up this price point that doesn't make sense.
Well, what's weird is what will happen. So it's like, I don't have a crystal ball, so who knows? But like, as the inventory at these dealerships continues to fill, right? Like there's more vehicles on lots,
which the interest rates are helping right now, truthfully.
Sure. Yeah. So that is happening, and production is ramped back up on the majority of things, and stuff is coming to market, and it's going to sit there. There's going to be You're going to see probably less than like the franchise dealers, the bigger franchise dealers that have, that are part of like a larger ownership group, but your smaller independent dealers that maybe they bought a bunch of inventory over the last year and they overpaid for it because the market was up. And now interest rates are up. People are going to be freaked out about an impending election. Here in the Bay Area, you've got a lot of tech jobs that are laying people off and doing stock buybacks and weird stuff. And so, at least here locally, I think you're going to see a lot of these smaller independent dealerships are going to be like, well, I bought this car for too much. The market's starting to come down a little bit on some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to drop my price. I'm just going to continue to ask too much, which is kind of what you're seeing a little bit. You go on Facebook Marketplace, there's a lot of cars, people just asking too much for stuff.
Insane.
And then all of a sudden, that dealership's going to be like, oh, crap, I can't turn my lights on anymore because I can't pay my bills. And then they're going to have to fire sale a bunch of stuff. And so I feel like as we get towards the end of the year, my guess would be people are going to be freaked out about a nightmare fuel election and not wanting to spend money if they don't have to. And I think there's going to be a lot of dealerships that are going to feel that and they're going to have to fire sale some. So I think that's when we'll finally see some prices coming down on some things. Not everything. Again, we're not going to pre-pandemic stuff, but like ADMs will be gone, I think. And I think on the used side, hopefully for you and I, or not, like for our sanity, hopefully not, but hopefully I would love us to have like some cool, affordable stuff come in the market again. But it hasn't on some stuff it has, but on a lot of stuff it just hasn't yet. And yeah, like the daily driver for your grandpa or something is a tough spot to try and be shopping right now.
Probably the toughest, right? Like if you're looking for
I think so.
Because you're looking for something modern-ish. You don't want to like I get it. I get that we're weird. But like you don't want a 30-year-old car as your daily necessarily. You're looking for that sweet spot, like 10 years or newer. So it has like, it's and you want lower mileage and you want it to look decent and all those basic things. Maintenance, you don't want to be too much. And those are the cars that are just everybody's asking. Like it just we look at them. You and I look at these cars and they're unmitigated piles of turd. And these people are still have the gall to ask like $5,000 over what it books for. Right. It's just it's all over. Open up marketplace. Just start looking at like, and it's nothing like special, guys. We're not talking about enthusiast rare items that we usually traffic in. We're talking about daily driver cars. So it's tough, man. It's really tough. And everybody needs a daily. Everybody's going back to having commutes. And I think it's just like it's a culmination of horrible events, just boiling into this. Like a whole bunch of shit.
A full Lemony Snicket situation.
Yeah, and you said
a series of unfortunate events.
Election years tend to throw a little turmoil. There's a little, insecurity with how the market's going to go. What are the changes facing the country coming up? So that all plays into it. It's just these interest rates need to go down, and of course, when they go down, people start buying. That'll drive up prices again. So it's just interesting to see how this is gonna pan out. But right now, like if you had to buy a car like right now, mid-February 2024, a daily driver, affordable, and you're on a fixed budget, it's tough. It's a tough spot, man.
Yes, sir. I don't know. When it does come back to earth though, and the sky starts falling, what are you gonna buy?
Oh, I don't know, man. I think we got rid of our newer cars, like my wife and I. So like we went to like an 07 GX 470. I'm so dumb. I don't even know the numbers anymore. And my Acura TSX. Yeah. So, which is an 08. So we have an 08, 07. So we went back quite a few years, but they're still modern and very reliable. And they're both like luxury Japanese brands. It's so weird. But we like them both, and we're super happy not having car payments. We're super happy with lower insurance rates, and we're just putting that money in. We got a baby coming up very soon, so we know how to live within our means. A lot of people don't. We don't have a surplus of money floating around, nor would we like hit that level.
Just a surplus of like cars, but that's
we do have a surplus.
That's what you and I are in that same cloth.
No car payments, the kettle black, my friend.
Cars. Yeah.
But no, seriously. So we've done that, and which is a smart move. I think for us financially, but some people you got to keep up, you got to keep up with like the Joneses, right? And you got to have that new car, and the average new car is still $46,000, and it's not even great. Like that's average.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, you
lot to
can
put a
get a nice
7%,
RAV4
8%.
for $46,000 with a
Those
9%
RAV4
loan.
primes, RAV4
Oh
primes,
yeah,
for
prime
55,000.
time. Yeah.
Put a 9% or 8% interest rate on that. Jesus, my man.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm right there. And
Gotta live out of that RAV4.
that might bleed into Project Car Progress later, because there's some stuff going on there. But
It's tough, man. And I think our weird stuff's there. I've seen some stuff. I'm really trying to hold back this year. I got too many cars. But it's tough. Like like honestly, and I've been looking at that part of the market, which I usually don't look at too much, to be honest with you. But I was shopping for like dailies, and like, holy shit, dude, it's fucking scary.
yeah, you gotta buy right. It's just so much harder now than it used to be. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe we'll get through summer and see what happens. But it will be interesting to tune back in late 2024, and maybe we'll have a really wrong opinion piece on that we can spitball.
Yeah, I honestly hope it gets better, because I think it's putting a lot of people in tough spots, and a lot of people are going with that like car poor. Like, I need something newer, I need something reliable. I'm going to be car poor.
Is that like the opposite of parkour?
It is. It's a hardcore car poor, which is
that's
like
right.
Not a good. I almost said car porn, which is like,
well,
acceptable.
That's a different.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that's it. I just thought it would be worth pointing out, and I didn't want to pick out like the used car like enthusiast market and talk about 911s. I think that fucking topic is it's dead. That's a horse that has been dead for centuries. It's a
yeah. If you want to buy
nope
appreciating assets, just don't buy cars.
Yeah, don't buy cars. Don't even try to pretend you can play the market. But just I thought it was cool talking about dailies, because right now that is the hardest car to buy and get a good one at a good price. So
no, I think you're right. Although I did find earlier today, and it is still, I just looked here, it's still for sale. It's a 2002 RAV4 EV. It's one of the rare EV, the first gen EV RAV4.
That
this one
one's
they're
been
asking
for sale.
5,400.
It's been for sale for 8 months, dude. They keep relisting it. I think it has some like issues.
I don't know.
I love the EV decal on the side.
Oh yes, those are clutch. I kind of want it. Anyways,
all right. I'm shutting my laptop, because let's get a quiz going here. This time Frank is going to be the quiz master general. He will be reading an automotive print ad, and this is our automotive print ad quiz game show, so that kind of works out. That's where we got the clever name. He's going to omit anything that gives that vehicle away, the make and the model. I have 3 guesses to figure out what the fuck he's stammering on about. Usually it's completely unrelated to the car. When we start talking aerodynamics, I'll chuckle a little bit. But anyway, I have 3 guesses. If I fail on those guesses, he can help me out with a hint, or I can ask for a hint. I have 10 minutes on the clock when he finishes the ad. 80s, 90s, mid 2000s are fair game.
Oh yes.
Frank, lay this ad upon me, my friend.
I will. This is a 1-page ad.
Ooh.
The vehicle in question is at the bottom. It's like the driver's side rear quarter shot. It's in motion. The wheels are motion blurred. There's like a smoke or a steam or some kind of, maybe it's tire smoke coming off the rear. Kind of hard to tell.
Ooh.
And underneath that, it just says hot! ! And then it says the new blank. Chariot of Fire. The blank. A sleek and powerful driving machine. Smoldering beauty. Scorching performance. An automotive legend in just 3 years. How does a car earn such a glowing reputation? The answer begins under the hood, the heart of every performance car. For this year, the name of the year, the 5-speed blank has been refined, squeezing 10 more horsepower out of its already hot engine. The compression ratio was raised, the intake manifold enlarged for easier engine breathing, and the exhaust system streamlined. As a result, the electronically controlled fuel-injected 2.8-liter twin-cam 6 propels blank from 0 to 60 in less than 8.6 seconds. In the handling department, standard features like independent rear suspension, McPherson struts, variable assist power rack and pinion steering, and wide 225/60 HR14 radial tires on 14 by 7-inch aluminum alloy wheels give Blank superb cornering and precise control. A new front air dam was added to channel the wind for less resistance and even better road holding. Inside the Blank, uncompromising attention has been paid to create the ultimate high performance environment. The Blank's now famous 8-way adjustable sport seats won't take backseat to anybody else's. In review of the 10 best automotive features, Car and Driver magazine rated the Blank driver's seat as the best in the business. The driver's seat has a wide variety of adjustments, from unique thematic lumbar adjustment system to movable thigh support and side bolsters. The dash has every button, knob, and switch within easy reach. The Blank, superb performance and stunning beauty. The right stuff to make a car legend. Sir?
You got 10 minutos.
10 minutos.
2.8 liter dual overhead cam.
Twin cam 6 is what it said.
2.8.
2.8. Fuel injected.
Fuel injected. Good 0 to 60 time for the
8.6.
Yeah, that's a good time. This absolutely reads like an 80s ad.
Hot.
Yeah, no, just like the tech it talked about.
Sure.
A lot of ergonomic talk, which puts me already into Japanese land, because the Japanese were really the subject matter experts when it came to like ergonomic button placement and seat comfort and all that. But the 2.8, a lot of vehicles had a 2.8, especially in the 80s. So that's a very common display. Dual overhead cams a little different. There were a lot of single overhead cams.
Sure.
We're definitely not talking about a GM 2.8 single overhead cam, because that's a 0 to 60 in like 12 point something.
Weren't those cam and block?
Actually,
The
they
2.8?
were. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Did they make a hotted up 2.8
I don't think so. Like the one they put, you can get like the Camaro and then the Fiero.
The LTZ had that 3.1 overhead cam. They had some interesting, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if you get a 2.8. I don't know. I don't know if it's in GM.
But I think the Japanese, I'm trying to think. Yeah, and it sounds like a sports car. This wasn't clearly like a sedan or like anything like that. And they just simply talked about performance. They talked about ergonomics. Boy, man, this is tough. Definitely 80s.
The answer begins under the hood, the heart of every performance car.
Yeah. So it just screams to me, like, it screams Toyota, but which Toyota are we talking about? So if we're talking 80s, we've got the later 80s, we're talking the Celica. I don't know if that had they mostly had the 4-cylinder, I believe. I'm a little rusty on this part.
Oh, careful now.
It was tough.
Don't strain anything.
I am straining bad. What if I do this? I don't think the Celica had a 6-cylinder though. Sounds like a Celica. Sounds like a Toyota ad. Let's go 1988 Toyota Celica. Final answer.
It is not the 1988 Toyota Celica, which famously was available with, I suppose, 3 varieties of 4-cylinder.
You could get the turbo in the all track.
That was the all track. Yep. With the turbo 3S GE 2-liter.
There was ST 165, right?
Yes. Yeah. But no, it is not the 1988 Toyota Celica.
They didn't have a V6 option, did they? Or did they?
The Celica never. It's complicated, right? Because the Celica. Okay, put it this way: Celica as just a Celica
Yeah, because it shared a name.
never came with a 6-cylinder power plant. The Celica on an island, Celica only,
Now I
was
know what you're
always a
saying.
4-cylinder.
Because there was the Celica Supra, but they divided by 88. They had already separated the two. So
Yes,
that
split happened in 1986 and a half.
Yep, because that was the third gen Supra, which had the
Yes.
famous. Could get a turbo one of those too, which was cool.
Good.
Then it's got to be his. I don't think it's a. I think this might be a little older than 88 too. Did you say ABS or any? Did I hear the part about the ABS or the brakes or? Did I
They
miss
did
that?
not mention. They did not
I
mention brakes.
I did hear
There
electronically
was
programmable fuel injection, correct?
Electronically fuel injected 2.8 liter twin cam 6. In the handling department, standard features like independent rear suspension, McPherson strut, variable assist power rack and pinion steering, and 14x7 aluminum alloys.
That's right. Those are fat 14s. This is
Yeah.
This is more sporty. This has got to be the big brother of the Celica. It's got to be a 14x7. That's a wide 14. Usually they're 14x5. It is seriously wide, especially for this time. So maybe I was a little too futuristic. And I thought the Celica had a 6-cylinder at one point. I guess I'm fucking crazy. Let's go with this big brother. Now this is going to be tricky for a year. I want to say 80. Let's go 85. We're going to go with the old Toyota tuna no crust Supra. Obviously, it's not a Mark IV. Just the Toyota Supra with that 2.8. I remember they stuck that engine in a lot of stuff. 80, what did I say? 85, 86.
Hot Chariot of Fire, the new 1984 Supra.
Ooh, okay.
which then was the Celica Supra.
Yep. So technically, the Celica had a 6-cylinder at one point.
Sort of. I mean, in the ad, it's funny. It was still the Celica Supra, but in the ad, it says that the new 1984 Supra, and then it starts off with the Toyota Supra, and then later the 1984 Toyota Supra.
It doesn't say Celica Supra.
It doesn't mention Celica at all. It says Supra like 6 times.
It said it on the car though,
Celica.
correct? Like 84 would have said Celica Supra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe Supra wasn't technically its own thing until 86 and a half.
Maybe the advertising, the marketing people were already starting to separate it.
Yeah, that's
what's going on. That's a good ad, dude. I would have thought it would have said that.
Let me send you a little note of it here so you can take a look here. But it's cool here. It's actually it's a double ad because it's 2 ads side by side. I did the one on the left. But cool ad. I own this car, right? Like I have an 84 Supra. And yeah, it's funny how
cool.
We talk a lot when we talk at these ads, a lot of time we talk about the lack on really modern ads. Once you start to get to the early 2000s, the Appleification of marketing campaigns really kicks in, where it's just like a picture of something and like 2 words, and that's the entire ad, right?
Right.
But back in the 80s and 90s specifically, really wordy stuff, lots of technical specs, and to the point where they call out, for 1984, the 5-speed Supra has been refined and like 10 more horsepower, and they tell you not only does it have 10 more horsepower for this year, and only in the 5-speed because the automatic still got the 150 horsepower engine, but they tell you why, right? Like we cranked up the compression, and we changed the design of the intake
like
manifold,
a straight
and the
line exhaust or whatever. Yeah, it's
streamlined
cool.
apparently.
Streamlined, yeah.
So
it was good, but totally a Toyota written ad. Like when it was talking about the ergonomics, that's what clicked. I mean, technically, I was right when I said Celica. I was too late in the years, though.
It was late. Yeah, it was a whole different generation. That was a front-wheel drive, 4-cylinder only.
That is correct.
It was a very different car. Yeah.
As soon as you said there were 3 engines, it clicked. I'm like, yeah, ST165. Yep, I'm off.
Yeah, because there's you get the base and the ST and the GT, and then the GTS got a hotter engine, and then
Dude, I'm looking at the ad. Zero mention of Celica Supra anywhere.
Yeah.
It just says Supra. It's straight
Super,
up just
super,
says
super,
Supra.
super, super.
How
Yeah.
fucking funny is that? That's a good one.
Yeah. And then the other one, the other version of the same ad, which is torrid,
Yeah.
which is just, it's, but yeah, we talked about it when we were talking our favorite cars. I just really enjoy these cars.
They look great. They look so 80s. It's so awesome.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Like,
it's good.
could not be from
they're
any other
decent to
generation.
drive
Yeah.
and they're reliable. Those engines they don't make a ton of power, but they're super smooth. Those 5 speeds are good. Real long shifter, but like they're really smooth to go. It's just a good car.
It's literally like one of those parked next to that Daytona Shelby Z I had. There's no other time period those two cars can come from when you're looking at them. There's straight up 80s cars.
Yeah, I mean that generation Supra might be the most 80s looking, like really like full on production car. I mean Z30, Z31, the early Z31Z cars are very clearly 80s looking. I mean C4 Corvette, but those ran for so long and they almost got to the end of the 90s and facelifts and stuff. It's a little
that
tough,
Daytona I had though, T-tops, pop-up headlights, spoiler, ground effects, cladding, the interior. Certain cars look just like it can't be from any other period, right?
Yeah. Starion or any of the Star Quest cars are
cool,
very 80s.
So cool.
Yes. What have you been working on yourself as far as project cars, my friends?
So yeah, I've got this. Speaking of affordable, reliable dailies, I've got that 2008 Acura TSX, which is an awesome dude. I've been driving it for a few weeks now. Absolutely peach, dude. It's just such a good car. It's so engaging. You can drive it so easily. That VTEC engine really down low has a good amount of torque. It's not as revvy as some of the others. Yeah, the 2.4, so 205 horsepower. It's like plenty fast, trust me. It loves to rev. It's got a slick 6-speed manual, which is the money. But dude, what a good car. But I've been doing some work on it. The brakes looked really nice when I did my initial inspection, but first time I had to do a couple panic stops, which you have to do daily here in California for no reason at all. Like, what the fuck? Let's lock them up, man. It's like 60 degrees and sunny. I don't know why I can't drive today. But dude, a lot of vibration. I'm like, these rotors are probably turned or something. That's why they look so nice. Like someone rotated them. It wasn't good enough. So new pads, rotors, and fluid. Absolutely epic. Perfect now. Super smooth. Way better modulation that I didn't even notice that I was missing before. So the brakes are very competent on this car. So that's a big job, doing a full brake job like that. It's just time consuming. And I only had to drill out one of the freaking annoying Honda screws that hold the rotor in place.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Yeah,
I did.
You didn't replace it, did you?
No.
No, don't do that.
No, if I drill one out, I leave it off. And then I put the other ones back just because they were brand new and shiny. And I put a little anti-seize on there so they won't stick. That's the secret, is putting a little anti-seize. But on those, when I do drill them out, I leave them off. And they just make it easier to put the brake assembly back together, but they don't serve any purpose, guys, once you get everything bolted down and the lug nuts on. So I hate them. The twofold, they rust in place, or someone uses too many ugga-duggas on a freaking screw.
Full send.
Yeah, and strips it out.
Yeah.
That's a bad
Buries
day.
it and then strips it. Yeah.
Oh, I've done brake jobs on Hondas where you drill out 8 screws and it's 0. It doubles the job.
It's frustrating.
The also issue with this is the navigation screen was just a jumbled mess. It never worked from when I got it. And it's obviously at 08. So it's infotainment, right? There's HVAC. Everything's through there. I can still use some of my heat in AC, but I can still use like the radio, but none of the screen. So I bought a replacement unit, Frank, like the whole nav and everything.
Like aftermarket?
No, factory, just a factory known working one. I take the old one out and it is a lot of dash removal, all that kind of fun stuff. We always talk about my favorite thing to do. Get the new unit in there, same thing. I'm like, chances are this is not a messed up unit also. So rumor has it the little DVD drive in the back is actually like a computer. It's not just a disc reader for the nav. It actually integrates all the HVAC stuff. It's a computer. And I sent that to a guy who rebuilt it and sent it back to me. Now it works, but he forgot the nav disc. So he's mailing that back to me because I don't have nav. But like everything works great.
What did it cost to get that thing rebuilt?
It was like just under $400. So it was like with shipping and everything, like $350. And like I'm a big keep everything OEM. So He's like the new. I'm like, dude, I don't have the key for it because it's a new unit. You have to put that damn code in. Love Honda, love Acura.
Yep.
He's like, it's on the top of the unit in a small little sticker. And I'm like, God damn it, I installed the unit. So I got a mirror. There's a little gap. I got a mirror and a flashlight and read it.
Oh,
like, backwards.
nice.
It was able to do it. But yeah,
Love
it
it.
works now. Waiting for the disc to come in. So everything's perfect on the car. If that's the worst issue, like the nav doesn't work when I bought it,
Right.
now it's 100%. So nav and brakes, my friend. That's what I've been working on. How about you? Any project car progress or PCP in your life?
Yeah, I bought a car.
Is that progress, Frank?
It's anti-progress.
Yeah.
Well, here's the skinny.
Well, listen, not to bury your lead at all, but I am totally on board with this purchase. Just so you know, and you know that about me. So
I do.
Carry on.
I do know that. It's a car I've appreciated for a while. I've always had a soft spot for this as like a competent daily, and I already own a competent daily. Right, I've got the 06 LS 430, and I've talked about it before. How it's like it's very, very, very good. I don't know if I'm a luxury car guy, but it's very, very good.
Yeah.
And but it gets 18, 19 miles a gallon.
Yeah.
So I stumbled upon a very good deal on something that gets a little bit better gas mileage. A 2012
magnitude's better.
Lexus CT 200H.
What?
Yes, which is probably the Cliff Notes version. You can call it the fancy Prius. It's a little bit different than that. It's a different chassis, but Prius powertrain, less Priusy looking, higher build quality, nicer interior, nicer touch points and stuff, and a more sporting nature, stiffer suspension, things like
better
that.
Better chassis.
Yep. The story on this one in particular, so this as I get a lot of my cars, it came through my car donation homies, where it was the interior was like 50% makeup and smelled kind of gross and was quite dirty, and all the clear coats falling off of it. But it's a one owner car and long list of dealer maintenance items. So Carfax on it shows that not only has it spent its entire life from day one going to the same dealership for every single bit of maintenance. There was like, I want to say like 38 entries in Carfax for maintenance. And they were all at the same dealership, including new on the front. They just put new tires on it like less than 1,000 miles ago.
Nice.
And they're Pilot Sport all seasons, which is dope.
That is cool.
The rears are in good shape, but they're like Laufins. They're like not different. So it's like part of me is like, ooh, this might be fun because like maybe the rear end will be a little bit loose. Yeah, compared to the frontal grip, and then I can toss the rear end. That might be fun. But I might just get matching all seasons on the rear.
100%.
Pilots.
Do we lose you, Frank? Frank has frozen, everybody.
No, I just mentally. Oh, nope. How about now? Unfrozen.
You're starting to come unfrozen.
Can you see me? Am I swaying?
Yeah.
All right. This is fun.
Someone from Laufin is listening. You're good now, man.
Laufin.
You're good.
That's what happens when we mention Laufin and we don't bow down to our Lord Emperor Nexon tires.
It's not.
Who is yet to sponsor the pod?
Frank, it's no Laufin matter. Okay.
It's not. It isn't. Yeah. It's
get your matching tires. Come on.
I should probably get matching tires. But so here's the thing though. One of the probably the largest bugaboo on these cars and on the third gen Priuses is they have a little bit of a propensity to lose head gaskets between like 150 200,000 miles for reasons unknown. Who lost to time. So this one has already had the head gasket done per the Carfax from the dealership like about 1,000 miles ago.
Sick.
So somebody just put big coin into this thing. And it's got like this but all the clear coat's falling off of it. So the interior's dirty. The interior, like the clear coat's falling off of it, but it's mechanically very, very sound. So I was able to purchase the vehicle for $5,000.
Nice.
Which is, in my opinion, for a daily where I don't care about the clear coat, but 165,000 mile. It's a moderately optioned car. It's got sunroof. It's got nav. It's
That
got
is the
heated
premium.
seats.
So you had two, the base and the premium package. So if you have premium, you have nav, you have a backup camera, and you have a sunroof. That's the
Yep.
premium one. That's the only
Yes.
options you had with the CTs.
Yeah, I want to say, I think, I don't know if in this year, but I think at some point you can get like an updated stereo, like I don't know if it's a Nakamichi or whatever, but it's like a ballsier stereo. It's
That's
got Bluetooth,
Yeah,
which
that
is great.
came. I think that came later with when you could get the F Sport, which is the fucking silliest option to have on a Lexus CT.
Right.
But also, dear listeners, if you weren't familiar, I had one of these in a 2012 for quite a few years, and I doubled the mileage on it and sold it for exactly what I paid for it. So
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with the platform, but they're great. Frank, just check that water pump, like I said, because there's no temp gauge on this car, which
Yeah.
is, and I found out when it said high coolant temp, and I was like, what? I don't see the gauge, and it's like pull over.
Yeah, I want to secure the full service record from the dealership on it. If the dealership is in Santa Rosa, I don't know if they'll be willing to send them to me, like email them to me, or if I'll have to go physically in person and burn a gallon and a half of gas to do it, because I'll be getting like 43 miles a gallon.
It's exactly that.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, it's interesting. The kid really likes it. I've had it a couple of days now, and he's like, this car is so cool.
It is so cool.
The one thing, so I don't care about the clear coat. It has a like a stencil bumper sticker on the rear tailgate that says "Cry Baby" with like flames. That I started peeling it off. I got like the C and the R off.
Please keep that.
It's bad. It's like
You're gonna
pulling
lose
the
so
clear
much
coat
clear
under it
coat.
with
You're
it.
gonna lose so much clear coat when you pull it off.
It's worth it. So I need to finish removing that. I need to figure out if I want to match the rear tires to the front tires.
Yep.
I need to get the service records. Otherwise, the only other thing that I care about is it much like you were just talking about on your TSX, is the screen, the nav screen, and that also HVAC and all the things. It's deeply yellowed.
Oh, they do that over time.
Yeah. And so this one has that. It's still very usable. It's just not nearly as like clear or pretty as it should be. It makes the backup camera a little wonky. But it all works. The touchscreens, or it's got the little mouse pad joystick guy, which is moderately annoying, but it works. But yeah, it drives brilliantly.
That mouse pad is so intuitive compared to when Lexus went to the touchpad.
Oh, it's the touchpad
better.
is poison.
Yeah, dude,
it's definitely better than that.
Like, you guys might think Frank's talking about like a beat up beater car. It's not. These cars traffic for 10 to 14K with a little less mileage and maybe in better condition. They're going for that much.
Yeah.
So you literally got it half price, and epic buy, dude, and a good color combination. He got this cool red with the caramel New Lux interior.
Yep.
So I think, dude, what did I say? Just buy it. It's the best. My review, I even called it the ultimate daily driver because it's perfect. And stop and go
I was
traffic,
finding
you get the best fuel economy. It's comfy.
I was finding comps that had like good paint, but like more miles, right? Like 180 to 200,000 miles for about 8. I was finding some on Marketplace. But this one, like, it technically needs a full repaint. And so
that's their paint was not that good. So I sold,
for what I'm doing with it, it's a killer deal.
Yeah, dude. I sold mine with 140,000 miles for like 11.
Yeah.
And it was a good color combo too, with that cool brown spice mica or whatever it was. But they're super nice cars, dude. I'm so pumped for you.
Yeah.
Like, I
so
love
now
that
if
car.
like I need to get the key situation figured out on my LS, which I've called multiple dealers now, and they kind of tell me to kick rocks. I'm still waiting on a call from the Pleasanton dealership to see what they can do, but I'd like to get that, because if I can get that figured out and I fix the back bumper, my LS is like a $15,000 car.
Yeah.
And so if I can change it from the LS to the CT, get better gas mileage, and put 10 grand in my pocket, I'll do it. It gives me better fuel economy, a more modern car, and 10 grand of fun car money.
Yeah, the CT is probably one of the better dailies ever made. It's so good, and it's fun to drive. It's fun to hyper mile a little bit, and it's comfy. Small car. It's a small footprint car. You can park it easy, get around easy.
Yeah.
A huge fan of it.
The suspension is so much more like firm and sporty and choppy than the LS.
Yeah.
But that's kind of any car though. I get out of the LS and I drive anything, and it's like it doesn't. The LS just rides so damn well. But I'll get over it. I'll spend a third of what I'm spending on fuel, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm over it.
So good, and it's regular octane. So
Yep,
big
yep,
difference.
Yep.
Cool.
You know what's regular?
My bowel movements, because
That's deeply irregular and surprisingly deep. Don't know. Yeah. Anyways,
this podcast.
Also irregular.
No,
but
we have
the
a
amount
weekly occurrence.
Well, okay, yes, our cadence is regular. Our subject matter is problematically irregular. What's regular is the amount of love that we have for you, the dear listener.
Yeah.
So thanks for continuing to do that. APA podcast, that's on the gram. Find us on the YouTube as well. Keep listening. We enjoy it. I think we're gonna I've got like maybe some like guests lined up that we might be having soon. So that should be fun. If you want to be a guest, we're not picky. Shoot us a note via communicate with us on the Instagram.
That's the title of a listener. A listener comes on and like actual listener is their title.
Yes, exactly. Human listener.
Qualification. Listen,
maybe that can be you. So do that. Do all the rankings of the things if you like, but most importantly, keep listening, keep enjoying. Give us some good ideas if you want. I'm Frank. You know where to find me if you want to by now. Chadwick, do you want people stalking you or do you not care?
Yeah, I'm indifferent, but
Okay.
Yeah, still Chadwick. Find me in all the places. But thanks again, guys. And definitely check out our YouTube. We've got the video version of this. Rank, review us, make comments, just have us stand out. Mention us to your friends if you have weird car friends. Let them know and keep listening wherever you listen, Spotify, wherever. I think Apple.
We should get...
What's going away? Google's going away.
Google's going away.
So fuck them. So listen to everywhere else.
Ignore that. Actually, Google's listening to us, so we should probably not like.
No, I love
too
Google.
much trash about Lord Emperor, the Googler.
All hail,
Lord Google. Except for the podcast component of it. Thanks for listening to this podcast. We do appreciate it. And should we get a PO box one day and people can mail us weird shit? I know that the DWA guys have a PO box, and I feel like we need to like mail them something deeply problematic.
Absolutely appropriate. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, something that will like they might do time when they open it. I don't know.
Not gonna question that one.
Speaking of doing time, thank you for spending yours with us.
Absolutely. As always, guys, take care. We love you. Bye.
Goodbye.